going on YouTube? R to the double E dash ZON coming at you once again. Doing a video this time just basically on my feelings and my thoughts on this quote unquote existing, non-existing, biased or controversy, conspiracy really is the word, against Nintendo, an anti-Nintendo vibe going through the industry and through the general public. I'm gonna be on record as saying that it's not supposed, it's there, and I have plenty of proof to go through in this video. Again, I don't have any facts or papers in front of me. I do have facts, they're just in my brain. I'll give them to you, and if you guys want, you can go look them up and see if I'm bullshitting you or if I'm telling the truth. Basically, man, I saw a video last night. I think the brother's name is Ash Chillin, something like that. I watched a couple of his videos. He's a good dude, man. Real nice videos, man. You went kind of crazy in that one video though, where you brought out the gun. I was like, oh shit, man. Maybe he won't get some flack for that. But a good dude, good videos, man. Good facts. And he touched on this briefly, and he gave some experiences of his when he went to his local Target, I think it was. and it just resonated with me. It was just like, yo, this is what's going on in the industry, and it's a goddamn shame, to be honest with you. But I'll go through right now. Basically, he mentioned this, and I went and I looked it up, and it was true. I went and I looked it up. He mentioned Metacritic. Now, I know that Metacritic is universally the most trusted website for reviews on products of all kinds, movies, games, you name it. I mean, it's all there. But games is what we're interested in. So I went. He talked about the user score for Grand Theft Auto 5 being lower than the user score for Wonderful 101, which I found super interesting because I own the Wonderful 101, as does he, and as do many Nintendo Wii U owners. And the game is the shit. The game is fucking phenomenal. The game, there is nothing wrong with that game whatsoever. As a matter of fact, everything is right with that game. But anyways, I thought that was very interesting because Grand Theft Auto 5, I mean, that's the messiah of gaming right now. You know what I'm saying? That's you know, according to everybody, you know, I'm not slamming on the game. Again, I don't want people to think I'm slamming on the game, but people are, you know, hyping it up like that, like it's God's gift to gaming. So it was very interesting to me when he said this. So I went and I looked it up. I don't know if things change on Metacritic, you know, from day to day, depending on how many people add user reviews to it. But when I went, that was not the case. The user score for Grand Theft Auto was higher than the user score for Wonderful 101, but I did find something else interesting about what I saw. Here's where I'll tell you that there is a conspiracy, or I don't know if you want to name it a conspiracy, but there's definitely an angle, excuse me, from big review sites and companies and game companies and stupid ass fanboys united basically against Nintendo. Now let me show you what I'm talking about before you think I've gone off the deep end. Here's what happens. A lot of these big time game companies, take your pick, there's millions out there, want their game to get high reviews on all the major sites, okay? Because this will further push, it's a marketing push for their product alongside the marketing push that they themselves have already established for their product, so that you get an oversaturation or a flood of marketing for this one game out in the market. So what some companies will do is they'll pay off review sites. I'm not even gonna fucking lie. I don't give a shit what people say. I don't care if you're IGN or whoever. Some of these motherfuckers get paid off. I mean, it's goddamn obvious in some of these reviews that we see. But that's not where I'm going. Where I'm going is this. There seems to be a lean against Nintendo by these big major review sites when it comes to ratings and reviews for some of Nintendo's biggest games. Now, this shit has been happening for a while. More specifically, since the last generation. Since the Wii, PS3, and Xbox 360. This shit has been going on. And it's infuriating if you're a Nintendo fan. And you can see it. I'm sorry, I thought I heard something. And you can see it when you look at the reviews. Now, here's a perfect example. That exact same scenario that Ash Villain put forth. GTA 5, Wonderful 101. I went and I looked up the reviews. Okay, GTA has a Metacritic review Metacritic critics review, meaning professional, quote unquote, I use that term very loosely, review score for Grand Theft Auto 5 of, I believe it's 97 or 98 out of 100. But and that's based on 60 or 70 major review sites and professional, again loosely, outlets. Next to that score, you will see another score called the user score. Now, this is a score generated based on a certain number of user reviews, meaning players, actual game players or consumers, people who have bought this game or rented it or have spent an ample amount of time with it, who have written their own review for it and put it on that site. Okay, so we have a critics score and we have a user score. Now, these games are all made for the same reason. They're made for the consumer. They're made for the gamer to buy and spend their hard-earned money on. That's how the companies make money, and that's how us gamers have fun. Okay, so I take the user score a hell of a lot more seriously than I take the critic score, because I know that these big companies and review sites and all that have their own personal agendas and their own preferences, and it paid the right money, a mission to accomplish. So I looked at Grand Theft Auto. It had 97, I believe, or 98 if I'm not. I think it was a 97 a critic score. When I looked next to it, based on over, I think it was 900 something user scores, the average user score, actual gamer who's actually taking his time to play this game and enjoy it and whatever, giving his 2 cents on the game, the average user score was 87 if I'm not mistaken. That's a whole 10 points lower than the critic score, what the critics gave it. Now compare that, keep that in mind, and compare it to the Wonderful 101, whose Metacritic critic score, based on 66 critics, I remember that specifically, was a 78. So translate that to a 7.8. A 78. But based on, I think it was 107 or something like that, users' reviews, their score for it is 81. Now you may say, well, 3 points is not that much. 3 points is huge when it comes to number skills and reviews of games. That's number one. Number two, funny how for the Wonderful 101, the professionals review was lower than what the fucking players who actually played the game and spent time with the game had to say about it. And funny how on the same token, the professionals review of Grand Theft Auto was a whole fucking 10 points higher than what actual game players said the game was worth. There's no conspiracy there. There's no anti-Nintendo lean there. Dude. And this has not just happened with the Wonderful 101. ZombiU. A lot of these sites like Game Traders and GameSpot and IGN, all these fuckers gave it a 7 point something. And when you go look up that game, people have, anybody who has talked to you or made a video or you have spoken to, has actually taken time to play the game, has told you one thing and one thing only, that ZombiU is fucking phenomenal. I should have gone and looked up the user score for that game on Metacritic. But I bet you, I'm almost willing to bet that it's not as low as the critic score, or what some of these fucking websites have given the game. And that's the other thing that points to me in the direction of saying there is a conspiracy going on, is facts like that. What has all these review sites been saying for the longest time, since last generation? Nintendo is stale. They stay with their same characters and franchises, blah, blah, blah. They need some new franchises. Okay. The fuck do you call ZombiU? But you slammed it and gave it a 7 point something and try to justify it by saying, oh, it's repetitive, it's too slow, da 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 da. When you really look at what the game was designed to be, it's fucking perfect for what it was designed to be. It's not designed to be an action shooter or a first person shooter. It's designed to be a fucking horror survival game. Number one. What the fuck you call the Wonderful 101? Epic fucking game. Nothing wrong with that game. Controls spot on. Different control options for those who can't get the hang of drawing on the screen, even though it's not that hard. Frantic, beautiful HD action, gameplay that never gets boring, unique use of gamepad and screen interplay, everything that you would want in a Wii U title, and it's a brand new fucking fresh franchise, just like you've been bitching about and asking for. And you give it a 7 something. You know, unless it's Mario or Zelda, because you cannot You cannot give Mario Zelda less than a 9 unless they deserve it. And the fact is, they never do. Their games are fucking phenomenal. But I think it was Game Trailers or GameSpot fucked up last year or two, a couple years ago, and gave Skyward Sword a 7 point something, while everybody else gave it a 10 or a 9.9 or whatever, and they felt the fucking wrath of everybody. You know what I'm saying? So unless it's Mario or Zelda, those Nintendo franchises you can't fuck with. Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, Mario, and Zelda, you can't fuck with them review sites. They would love to, but they know they can't, so they give them their 9s and their 10s. But they slam every other fucking big-time Nintendo exclusive and big-time Nintendo IP coming out. Wonderful 101 and Zombie U are the first two that you've seen slam in this generation, and we haven't even been out a year. And it happened last year also. It happened not last year, last generation with the Wii, with the original Wii. There was countless exclusives and big-time games that were for the Wii, designed for the Wii. They got slammed. They didn't get the review scores that everybody knows it deserved. I'm not going to even go through a list of them right now because I'll spend the rest of this video going through titles. But I'm saying, man, come on. When you have... And Metacritic, I like Metacritic because what it does, to my understanding, is when it uses the critic score, it just gathers an average of all the professional review scores on a certain game and gives you an average. This is the average professional review of the score. Of the game. And then it allows players and private citizens to post their reviews of a game, and then it, depending on how many it has of users, it rounds those up and gives you an average. How the fuck is the average of the biggest game of the year, Grand Theft Auto, how the fuck is the average of the professional website scores 10 fucking points higher than people who are not getting paid to play the game? Then people who are not getting paid to give it a review. Then people who just paid their fucking money to play the game. And how, at the same token, is their professional score for the Wonderful 101 3 or 4 points lower than what the fucking fans say it is after they play the game and they're not getting paid to play the game? You know what I'm saying? This is what happens. But it's funny because it's been going on for all last generation, and it's continuing this generation. Well, it wasn't able to stop Nintendo last generation. Nintendo's only gotten better, so I doubt it's going to stop at this generation. But I just felt I had to voice my 2 cents on this. Y'all let me know what you think. Holla at me. Comment, subscribe, do what you do. God bless y'all. Stay gaming. Reason Not is coming at you. I ain't going to shut up about this. Every time this happens, I'm going to keep going to Metacritic and I'm going to point these inconsistencies out so y'all can see what the fuck I'm talking about. Peace.